Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I'm taking more of your questions today in another segment of Ask Judy. If you're enjoying these segments, please do hit like and subscribe. This question is from a user that is not specified as a name, so hopefully you'll recognize that this is from you. Another great episode. I apologize if you answered these questions before. What did you love about Mary Ellen, and what did you not like about Mary Ellen? Well, why don't we start with what I didn't like at times. I didn't like if I felt she was too unreasonable and whiny. I felt there were some times where it just seemed a bit much to me. I felt uncomfortable as Mary Ellen having to behave that way, but maybe that was the point, and maybe that was just me really embodying a situation there and feeling the truth of the moment, because sometimes we aren't always as happy with our own behavior when we look back at it. And when you're doing a scene, you have an opportunity to really experience that and be intentionally creating it. Whereas for the most part, we respond to things that are going on around us, and we can look back and go, ooh, I didn't like the way I dealt with that situation, but we can't go back and reshoot it. In this case, I can look in advance and go, oh, that's going to be awkward. So sometimes I wasn't so happy having to do those scenes. For instance, in the Children's Carol, when Kurt had to be stationed away, and I went and took John Curtis and wanted to be there with him, and then was so annoyed with him because he couldn't be with me. And I just thought, that's so ridiculous. You recognize he has a job to do, and why are you being such a brat? And I know some people, when I talked about that, when I reviewed that episode, said, oh, no, it kind of made sense. New mother, the insecurities, all of that. You're not used to your husband being away. So, I could see that. It just felt kind of icky, which I guess it was supposed to. So that was a little bit of the not like about her. But in terms of what I liked about her, it was some of those same characteristics that she was. I enjoyed being the tomboy and the fun stuff that I got to do, playing ball and riding horses and just being a little more rugged and whatnot. And then being kind of a rebel, because I wasn't a real rebel in real life. So getting to vicariously be more rebellious without the consequences I would have experienced in real life, that was kind of fun. I loved the bantering with my various different siblings. I've talked about how much I love the bantering between Mary Ellen and John Boy, or, bartering with the junk man, or different things like that. Those types of things were a lot of fun for me. I also loved that she was so staunchly defensive on behalf of her siblings, that she defended them, that she got into a fight to protect Jim Bob, things like that. I really admired about her, that she was very strongly opinionated, and that could be good and bad. So I liked when it was in a positive sense, and maybe cringed a bit when it wasn't. So then you also asked, if you had a magic wand, which cast member, family or not, would have been your second choice to play? Oh, wow, that's a really tough one, because I loved playing Mary Ellen. I can't see wanting to be a different family member unless it was like John Boy. But if John Boy was a girl, I could have been John Girl. So maybe that would have been fun, to be John Girl, to be the oldest sibling, and to sort of have to carry that leadership role amongst the kids as you're also still trying to find your own way. So maybe that. But I would never, everybody I thought was so perfect for their roles that I can't imagine anybody playing any of the roles. So including myself. And then you said, I know that some actors carry a good luck charm or believe in superstitions while filming. Any of the cast carry a rabbit's foot or consulted with astrology cards, etc. Not that I was aware of. I didn't particularly note anyone being particularly superstitious or into good luck charms or omens, So not that I remember anyway. Someone else might pipe up and go, oh, totally. But I guess I didn't notice. This is from Addie Jill, who said, I noticed another inconsistently when recently watching the episode The Carnival. When the carnival performers invite the family to come see a show in the barn at the end of the episode, they all pile in the truck to go to the barn. I think this is the first and only episode that suggests that the barn isn't close to the house. After this episode, the barn is right outside the kitchen porch. I think what might be confusing to you is that it wasn't the same barn. Here early in the episode, you see they follow the monkey to the barn. And if you look at that, the doors are different, the setting is different. And then in that same episode earlier, there had been a point where Ep Bridges drove up to talk to them about the carnival performers, and Livia and John Boy are outside our barn. And it just looks different. It's a different set of doors, and you can see the setting there. So the carnival people had found another abandoned barn that they were staying in. So then it made sense for us to have to get in our truck to go to the barn. Plus, if they were in our barn, we would have known about it because somebody would have gone in there to milk the cow in the morning and they would have found them. So just a different barn, but I understand the confusion. This is from Julie Owens, who said, when you were in the show where you were addicted to pills, that would be the obsession, while trying to study for your nursing lessons, was that pretty hard and intense for you to play that part? It was in a lot of ways, because I had no personal experience with ever being addicted to anything, maybe a little chocolate here and there. So I had not necessarily experienced that, but I did do research into different sorts of phenomenon from different types of drugs or pills, or in this case, a form of stimulants, uppers, and that they make you shaky and twitchy and whatever. So I just did that research and then tried to find ways to embody that. So I guess my main concern was it being believable and wanting it to be believable. So hopefully that was the case. It was a wonderful challenge, and as an actor, I enjoy those types of challenges where I have to find how to relate to something that is not in my own personal experience. This question is from the Films 2011. Always enjoy your segments. I have one question. The question is, I would like to know more about the agent we all hear about actors have, and if you could explain how that relationship works. Do they pitch work for the actors and negotiate compensation? Did they receive compensation when they get an actor work? How are actors paid from the studio, or is it studio to agent and agent pays actor? So basically, this is Terry from Colorado. So thank you, Terry. The agents have to be licensed. So not just anybody can be an agent, and I'm not sure what the licensing process is, but agents are technically the only person who can solicit work on behalf of the actor. Many actors also have managers, but a manager is kind of what it says, manager. They oversee and coordinate all aspects of the team. So an agent, a press agent, they sort of oversee and work on the strategy with the performer about how to build the career. Whereas an agent takes a look at what's casting and submits their clients for those various different things that are casting, pitches them, does their best to get auditions for the actor. And then if the actor is cast, then yes, they will negotiate the contract. Sometimes if it's a more complex thing like a series regular, then typically a lawyer might be brought in for some of the other detail work, but the agent basically is back and forth with whoever they're negotiating with, the producers, the casting director on behalf of the producers, and then the client saying this is what they're offering, this is what we're going to ask for. So that's all kind of collectively done. And then an agent, typically the standard is 10% of whatever the negotiated fee is. And with a series, at most times you as an actor will fill out these forms that the agent will then give to the production company that authorizes the check to be sent to the agent. The agent will then deposit it. They will take their 10% and forward the accounting along with a check minus 10% to the actor. So that was how it has typically happened for me when I have been working on projects. So I don't know if things have changed since some of that time, but that was what I was familiar with. This is from Anthony Verhaeg. Of the various types of theater, what do you think is the toughest, and what was the toughest on you personally? I can't say what the toughest is. I think it is very personal. I would find it tough doing something like Shakespeare just because of the language. I just don't have a lot of experience with it. So that would take a lot more work for me to learn the dialogue in that kind of language, and then to more research to understand exactly what the lines mean because of the nature of the language. If I'm dealing not with a language situation and not with a tough accent to learn, then I think it's like really the heavily emotional work, because when you're doing anywhere from 5 to 8 shows a week, if you're having to deal with heavy emotional content every single show, it's just very draining. So I find that, I would say, the toughest personally. Not that it's hard work to do, but it's just emotionally draining, which then becomes more difficult. Thanks for joining me for this segment of Ask Judy. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons, more episodes, more of your questions, and more special guests. Thanks for watching.